So you're thinking about making a move to Tacoma, but you're not sure if this is the right city for you. Well, today I'm going to help you out with that. We're going to be breaking down the pros and the cons of living in Tacoma, Washington, the good and the bad, and everything in between, what it's like truly living here. So if that's the question you're looking to have answered, then stick around. We're getting after it right now. Hey, Chris, myself, and our team, we're getting phone calls, texts, and emails every day from people just like you looking to make their move out to Tacoma. So whether you're looking to making that move here in the next 3 days or 3 months, shoot us a phone call, text, email, or even better, set up a Zoom call with us. Say if you know everything going on in the Tacoma market, hit that subscribe button. One of the biggest pros of living here in Tacoma, Washington is all of the incredible outdoor opportunities. We are right now at Point Defiance Park, specifically on Owen Beach. This is the second largest city park in America, just next to Central Park, spanning about 760 acres with over 400 acres of just beautiful old growth forests. Point Defiance has other beaches just like this one, a wonderful off-the-leash dog park, Point Defiance Zoo, Point Defiance Aquarium. There is even a school located right here inside of the city park. It also is home to the ferry terminal that gets you over there to Vashon Island and hosts about 3 million visitors a year. Tacoma is no stranger to the outdoors. In fact, within the city, we actually have 85 separate parks spread all over. And while this is pretty awesome, it's not just right here in Tacoma that you have a lot of great outdoor activities. You're just about 15 minutes at any point in time at being at a lake, whether it's American Lake, you're 30 minutes out to Lake Tapps. You're just about an hour and a half being into Mount Rainier National Park for some of the best hiking and most beautiful views in the entire country. Taking a couple-hour drive, you can also end up in Olympic National Park amongst the amazing Olympic Mountains, seeing the Tree of Life, the Hoh Rainforest, and so many other amazing natural, beautiful things that are all within just a couple hours of Tacoma.
The next major pro I think about Tacoma that you should know about for this next year is really just the family-friendly communities. We're filming right now. We're up north off of Ruston a little bit, and you can just hear we're in the middle of a city. Traffic's quiet. You don't really hear much. Plenty of sidewalks. And sure, a family-friendly community means different things to different people. But that's why we gotta do your research. This is why you have to reach out to us. See, Chris and I, we know the ins and outs of all these neighborhoods like the back of our hand. And you do not want to end up in the wrong neighborhood. Communities that have schools like Lowell Elementary or Stadium High School are definitely some of the ones that come to mind. And if you're sitting here thinking, Austin, look, I appreciate that, but like public schools, not really my thing, or maybe your view of Tacoma schools is something you like, but we don't. Well, here's the thing. You can also get into really incredible private schools here in Tacoma. And not just get into private schools, but get into private schools at an amazing rate. Is a Christian school your thing, or maybe just a traditional corporate-y type private school? When it comes to private school, the average cost is about $13,000 across the state of Washington. But here in Tacoma, the average cost to get into a private school is about $9,000 to $10,000. So you save a few grand going into private school right here in Tacoma. And if you want to know some of the top rated, top tier ones, I'm going to link a list down below, but also just give me a call. I'll be happy to share with you some of the ones that we found that are top notch. Not only do a lot of these amazing communities have great homes, great neighbors, and a lot of friendly faces, but they also come with some amenities between neighborhood gardens, community centers, libraries, parks. There's over 80 parks here in Tacoma. Basically every neighborhood has their own park. Not to mention walkability. I mean, all these neighborhoods have great sidewalks, very friendly for bicycle riders, people riding scooters, there's bike crossings, pedestrian crossings. These neighborhoods are set up to be walkable, and they're set up to be safe for kids or someone out running at 3 o'clock in the morning. They are designed with safety in mind. Not to mention what could be a pro in and of itself is all these neighborhoods are really dog friendly. In fact, sometimes feel like there's more dogs than children out here. There's veterinary services close. There's professional dog walkers. There are pet stores everywhere. So with these neighborhoods, it's really just a matter of finding the right neighborhood that fits what your family's looking for. Right here behind me is Anthem Coffee, one of my favorite coffee shops in the region. This was actually opened by our next door neighbor. He's got several locations across the area and now even one down in Phoenix. But the job market, because of people doing things like this, is super strong here in Tacoma, which is another reason why Tacoma is such a great place to live. Tacoma's economy is strong. It's very diverse. And the majority of the jobs here are set up in multiple different sectors. Some of the most prominent industries here are technology, manufacturing, healthcare, and the military, as well as small businesses. The city of Tacoma also hosts institutions like right behind me, University of Washington, Tacoma, and PLU, both of which are contributing to jobs in academia and skill-related fields. Our city is home to Franciscan and the multi-care health systems, which are providing a ton of jobs in healthcare, research, and administration. The Port of Tacoma is one of the largest container ports in the world, contributing to industries like warehousing, storage, transportation, and logistics. Tacoma is also seeing a major increase in technology jobs as UW and PLU continue to create genius minds right here in our local area. And with the giant influx of technology jobs in Seattle, many companies are looking for cheaper places to do businesses, and more folks that live in the South End are creating their own startups. We're also home to Joint Base Lewis McChord, which is one of the largest military bases in the entire country. And if you've ever been around a military base, you know the scale it takes to operate one of those. There are a ton of civilian jobs and contractor jobs, as well as spousal jobs that come because of soldiers getting relocated to the area. So this economy here is thriving, it is booming, there are a lot of opportunities, and that is why jobs in Tacoma is one of the biggest pros for this city. One of the best things about living in Tacoma is the culture, whether it's the small town feel or whether it's the arts and the science and just all these amazing museums, all the way out to the music scene and the restaurant scene. There is a ton of amazing culture right here in Tacoma. There are always events going on when you live here in Tacoma, whether it's like something simple like the monthly Tacoma Sunday Market, the Tacoma Film Festival. There's 3 farmers markets in 3 different neighborhoods out here, first nights, and the list really just goes on. In fact, there are too many events that happen here in Tacoma for me to even try to list them all in this video. Tacoma has 6 major museums right here in the downtown core that does an amazing job showing off all of the art and culture that Tacoma has to offer. The museum district literally is such a broad range. We're sitting right here at the Museum of Glass. So you have the Chihuly Glass Museum, you have the bridge right here, and then up this way you have a car museum. So you can visit old automobiles, see some really sick rides, and just have a lot of fun. There also is a traditional arts museum, a history museum, really everything you could really want, just kind of situated right here in the same area. Our city is home to a lot of different musical groups as well, both classic, rock and roll. There's been some pretty amazing rap music come out of the area. The Broadway Performing Arts Center keeps more of that classical edge alive and well. So if you're looking for some culture between events, some of these amazing museums, and just things to do. I mean, I didn't even know until just a while ago that Foss Waterway had basically like a little seaport museum. No matter where you go, there is something to learn, there is something to see here in Tacoma. It never gets boring, and that's one of the best things about living right here in Tacoma. The first con of living in Tacoma, especially for this year, has got to be the weather. Even though it's beautiful and sunny today, it's still throwing me some curveballs. Yesterday, it rained all day, and then today, It started out being sunny, which it still is, but then after filming for about 15 minutes, I had to throw my coat on. So weather in Tacoma is something that you definitely have to keep your eye on and is a major con. We do get to experience all 4 seasons, which is really nice, and they are not as extreme as they were for me living in Missouri. I don't have the same freezing winters or the scorching summers. So in some ways, it's actually a little bit better. Where the weather does really come into play and impact life here in a negative way is, for one, when it's really hot outside, most families out here still do not have air conditioning. And if you're looking to come out here from anywhere else in the country, that sounds probably insane. But there are still a lot of homes out here that do not have the AC. And while temperatures are pretty temperate, there can be days in the summer that can get upwards of 90 degrees. If you've researched the area at all, you know that rain is no stranger to the greater Seattle area. And the thing is, rain really plays a very minimal impact on life out here in Tacoma. Folks really just don't care to be impacted by it. It's not gonna stop activities. Sporting events are still gonna happen. School events are still gonna happen. Short of basically having a picnic out here, people are just gonna go ahead and live life. So if the rain isn't slowing anything down, then why is it such a big negative? Well, it's really not. The thing that really gets to people out here living in Tacoma and causes such a big problem is the grayness. You see, it can be gray here for days on end and you won't see the sun. And this typically starts about Thanksgiving time through about middle of February when it starts to lighten up. Obviously you can see here behind me, it's February right now and it's already pretty blue outside. So that is starting to go away. But you do need to be prepared for this. Things that can really help you in this case are UV lamps come in really handy, getting plenty of sleep, and then of course, on days like today where it is absolutely beautiful outside, go ahead and get outside and take advantage of the stunning weather.
The next con has got to be the traffic. I mean, you can hear cars roaring behind me here. Actually filming at a time where there's not a ton of traffic. It's actually kind of traffic less right now. And that's really the thing with Tacoma that I think is very unique is, like a lot of big cities where you have just awful traffic 24/7, out here, the pain in the ass really becomes understanding the commute times. Like, we're not gonna wanna be right here from 7 to 9 a.m. It's gonna be hell. We're not gonna wanna be here from 3 to 6. It's gonna be even worse. And it's not just these highways, it's in town as well. Traffic in town can get insane. Parking's even more of a problem. I just went to Safeway and I had to wait for 3 rotations just to get a single parking spot. So what I can tell you is when you move to Tacoma, traffic is gonna be a pain in the ass. It's going to annoy you. It is going to be frustrating. You've got to plan your day around this traffic. One tip I can give you is I still keep Waze or Google Maps open most of the time. It's not because I need to know where I'm going, but it's keeping me in the loop as far as accidents, car crashes, things like that, maybe construction, because there's a lot of construction out here.
The next con has got to be education and schools in Tacoma. Now you might recognize Stadium High School back here from the movie 10 Things I Hate About You. Probably one of the coolest things about living in Tacoma. And when I say education, I don't mean the fact that the schools in Tacoma are bad. I think really more of it is when you're moving to Tacoma, trying to figure out what school is going to fit your children the best. But if you're trying to decide which school would be best for your family, I think that is where the big con comes in. Where you live is going to heavily dictate obviously what school your kids can go to. There are fantastic private schools, but like I said earlier in the video, they can be anywhere from $9,000 to $13,000. So you've got to find a school that's going to match your desires for your kid, what they expect to specialize in inside of the community that you want to live in. And because of that, I think that makes schools here in Tacoma really a challenge and honestly a con. Because if you live in a smaller town, you're just gonna go to the high school. You're just gonna go to the middle school. And here, there's a lot, and then there's a lot of unknowns as well. So like I said before, just reach out to us, have a phone call with us. We will try to help you narrow down the right place for you and your family. Another major con of living here in Tacoma is the cost of living. This is one that hit me pretty hard personally. When we moved from the Midwest out here, we already had like a 3 times increase in the cost of our expenses. And then inflation decided that it was just gonna take off and go for a run, making it that much more interesting. And it does depend on where you come from. If you're coming from a place like California, then Tacoma is gonna seem like you're saving a few bucks. And if you're looking at moving to Seattle or Bellevue, hey, homes are 40% cheaper. But when you also get online, you start Googling, you're gonna see average homes are $550, but something like that right there, here in Stadium District, that's $1 million, friends. So now you're looking at dropping, you know, between $600 and $1 million on a pretty standard home. But you also have a higher sales tax, roughly 10.1% around the area. Now there is no state income tax, and that's a really nice break, but it all kind of levels out and washes out in the end. I haven't seen a big difference in groceries, and we use Walmart Plus, so that is considerably, I think, saving us some money with, you know, grocery cost. Utilities are one place where we have noticed that we are, in fact, actually saving money. Our utility bill sits at less than $200 a month, basically through the entire year, and that's compared to some pretty extremes from where we came from because of the climate in the summer, you know, and the winter. Now, places that are going to hit you is things like football was basically free back in the Midwest, and for my son to sign up, just sign up, it was over $700. Oil changes are costing me like around $200. So there are definitely places here that the cost of living is such a negative, because no matter how hard you work, no matter how much you push, it seems like you're just getting nickel and dimed by the rising cost on the West Coast. So really dive heavily into what the cost of living is out here in Tacoma. Don't just look at the service level, physically call places, find out what things cost, and write that stuff down. We really did not know that a good dinner out was gonna cost us 150 bucks, or I think like a McDonald's cheeseburger is $3.50. Some of that stuff is a little unknown. So the cost of living here in Tacoma is a negative. I would love to see it be a little bit lower, a little bit cheaper, but hey, look, I guess that's a cost you have for being by the mountains and the water. All right, well, there you go. The pros and cons of living in Tacoma, Washington. Again, if you have any questions or you're looking to make a move out to Tacoma, shoot us a phone call, text, or an email. And until next time, I cannot wait till you're out here so we can show you around.